bro. Who needs this game more, Dolphins or Buffalo?
That's the question?
Yeah.
Of all the questions we asked the most obvious one?
Oh, then we're going to agree.
Miami. And it isn't even close. That's why I'm baffled that's a question.
In your day off, you didn't get more right about this.
Think about this.
Okay.
Listen to this, Nick. I don't know how. I think you're just going to want to move on after I share this.
Okay.
Buffalo's 10-3.
Yes.
And you would even admit this. Just about guaranteed to make the playoffs.
Oh, they
Win
are.
or lose, right?
Yes,
okay.
100%.
Even though they're not mathematically yet.
No, they're
right. They're in.
100%.
Not so with Miami.
Agreed.
They're 8-5. They're a game ahead of 3 teams, 2 of whom have already beaten them, the Jets and the Chargers.
Yeah.
So they are on precarious ground. All right, that's number 1. Number 2, Buffalo has won 4 straight games, and you are always saying, it's become his favorite phrase now that Kansas City loses every couple of weeks, every few weeks.
Same number of
it's
losses.
hard to put a string together of wins in the NFL.
Well,
okay, so they won 4. If they lose their fifth game, fine.
Their 4th game.
Well, 4th game, but
I see what
in
you
their
mean,
last
5th in a row.
If their streak ends at 4, no big deal. Miami, on the other hand, coming off 2 horrible losses. Not just that they've put their playoff position in jeopardy, but bad losses out west. And then finally, Nick, you like to talk about the number 1 seed. Maybe that's where you'll go. The number 1 seed. The last time a number 1 seed won the Super Bowl was when?
Tell me.
2017. It's a long time ago. It was Tom Brady and the Patriots.
Ow.
We know they needed the number 1 seed. It was important to them. Last time a team even got to the Super Bowl with the number 1 seed, San Francisco in 2019 with Jimmy G.
However, but that's misleading because when the Chiefs won the Super Bowl,
they weren't even the number 1 seed.
No, but they had a bye. They were a 2 seed back when the 2 seed got the bye. So
you don't have home field.
No,
necessarily.
I understand, but it is still, in my opinion, a little misleading. And the Chiefs, by the way, that year did end up having home field because the 1 seed, the Ravens, I think it was, ended up losing their first playoff game. To me, the answer is Buffalo clearly, because Buffalo is playing for different stakes than Miami. Miami, contrary to what Chris Broussard and others briefly tried to convince America that Miami was a top-tier contender. I remember it like vividly. When Miami was on their little hollow run, it's like, oh, Tua might be an MVP, and Miami, you got to put him at the top with Buffalo and Kansas City. Miami knew they were not that. We all deep down knew they were not that. Miami is trying to make the postseason, and I believe even if they lose to Buffalo, because they have Green Bay, New England, and the Jets to finish up, they will make the postseason. I don't think the Patriots are going to steal a playoff spot, and I think the Jets are going to fall likely just short, the Jets and Chargers fighting for it. Buffalo, on the other hand, this is supposed to be their year. This is supposed to be the best Bills team ever. And going into the season, the idea was, what will get us over the top? Josh Allen getting even better. Well, he has gotten worse. Addition of Von Miller. Well, he's now gone. That playoff game will be in Buffalo, not in Kansas City. Well, if they lose this game, they would not be the 1 seed anymore. And the flip side to your coin of what could happen to Miami if they lose, if Buffalo loses, winning the division is not a guarantee, because they would have been swept by Miami and only 1 game up on them. So that would then mean if Miami gets hot and Buffalo, I don't know, goes to Cincinnati and loses, which is absolutely on the board. In fact, they'll likely be a slight underdog or a slight favorite in that game in Cincinnati. Miami could win the AFC East, and Buffalo would be relegated to the 5th seed. So if we are treating the Bills, this is where I would just like a level of consistency.
Okay.
We should not treat the Bills like we treat the Dolphins and have the standard for both of them be make the playoffs. The Bills were the preseason favorites with the preseason MVP. They are still your pick and Greg Jennings' pick and so many people's pick is the best team in the league. Well, then all of a sudden falling out of the top seed would be problematic. Having the division far from locked up with just a couple weeks to go would be problematic. And more importantly, it would continue a trend of mediocre football for 2 months. The record notwithstanding, they have not looked overwhelming in a football game since early October.
College football now.
No, hold on. No. You can't.
Win like Georgia. You got to be Georgia.
No. You don't
When's
have
the
to.
last time the Chiefs looked
Overwhelming.
I don't know.
San
I mean, they
Francisco?
beat the
About a month ago?
No, they beat the Rams by 3 scores.
The Rams?
They were up. You can say
They're one of the worst teams.
Okay, well, that's who they played. They played these teams. But regardless, the Bills have played bad teams and have not looked overwhelming in months. So I would argue, and losing the 1 seed would be devastating.
Okay,
Let me just throw
go.
this in. It's in the quiver. The number 1 seed, because here's the thing with the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
Buffalo knows they can go into your building, Nick,
Hold on.
and
Not
beat
during the
y'all.
playoffs,
They've done it the last 2 years. And was that playoff loss because it was an Arrowhead or was it because of a coin toss?
No,
Let's keep it real.
no,
They played great.
I would argue that maybe the Chiefs would not have been able to go 40 yards in 13 seconds in a hostile, loud road environment. Also, one thing that you guys never bring up, but if I were you arguing against the Chiefs, that I would bring up quite a bit is Mahomes has never had to play a road playoff game. They've been so good, he's literally never played a road playoff game. So while I don't think he's going to struggle on the road, it is an unknown. You can't act as if Buffalo not getting the 1 seed would be devastating for their Super Bowl
Devastating?
It would be devastating.
Yeah, I think you want it, but devastating, no. I'm not willing to
okay.
say.
Here's why I think Buffalo wants to be home, because of the obvious home field advantage with the weather. Miami, which is very happy when everybody had to go down there when it was sweltering hot. Remember, the Patriots had to go down there, and they wear their white uniforms, and we have to wear the dark uniforms and sweat. Well, now the shoe is on the other weather foot. Here are the 3 things. First of all, why I think Buffalo is going to roll the Dolphins this weekend. Number 1. Oh, look at that. We have a snow thing. This was the report when they played the Chargers. Dolphins had heaters near their bench inside SoFi. The temperature outside was 55. They traveled to Buffalo. Temperature's going to be in the 20s. Mike McDaniel at practice, he has become pretty cool, and I like him a lot, too. I wish it were colder. I guess he had his shirt on that said I wish he was hotter. So he's, if it was Bill Belichick, you'd be in Buffalo now. You'd just be outside at, SUNY Buffalo practicing, but instead you guys are in shorts. It's a bad idea.
Is he rapping?
Yeah.
He is rapping?
He is. No, he was
Yeah, I
rapping.
think it's YG, I think, is playing. But we don't have the rights. And finally, just the statistics are not on Miami's side. 0-7, 17 points a game. Rushing yard is, I think that's actually fine. But your opponents, like the Patriots and like the Bills, are just going to run, and these long bombs to Tyreek Hill that get knocked down by snowflakes aren't going to work.
Can I ask a question about the weather, though?
Sure. I'm a meteorologist.
I know the Bills theoretically should be good in the snow because they play in Buffalo. You guys think this Bills team is built to excel in bad weather? Because I don't.
No,
and I don't have a great... And
I do agree with you.
And I think there are some Bills fans that are a little bummed out that they're spending all this money on a new stadium and it's not going to have a roof, when you would think Josh Allen, you would want to put him in the Rams' greatest show on turf environment. I agree.
But he can still, take off.
No, he can
play
run.
breaks down and then he
Right.
No.
can turn into a
His running ability, I think, is very useful in bad weather. But the Bills, oddly, even though their quarterback is a battering ram at times, are built like a fast finesse team that would like perfect conditions. So I think both of these teams would prefer it not to be snowy and cold.
I agree with you, but I do believe of the two, obviously Buffalo is more acclimated to the weather. I mean, two is in trouble, and the Dolphins.
Teams built for the snow. A little screen pass behind the line of scrimmage. That stuff works.
Okay,
that stuff works when it gets cold. Ooh, good work in Las Vegas. Other game on our Doppler radar tonight, 49ers and Brock Purdy head up to Seattle. Purdy was listed as questionable with an oblique/rib injury, but the report is that he's going to start. Nick, do you trust your guy Brock to get the W tonight?
I trust the Niners to win. Why do you guys insist on doing this?
Well, because it's the second game he's ever played.
But it's got nothing to do with him.
Third, maybe.
It's got nothing to do with him.
You can't say that. He is the quarterback.
The Niners...
He touches the ball every play, and they throw. It's not like he's handing it off and it's 3 yards in a cloud of dust.
The Niners beat the Seahawks with Trey Lance. Now, I know what you'll say. Trey Lance barely played, but he got one of those beloved quarterback wins you guys like so much in that game.
True.
The same thing that Jimmy got in the game Brock came in that put him back on Bruce's stupid graphic.
That's quarterback win karma.
Seattle is the number 30
Miles.
defense in points allowed, the number 28 overall defense, and most importantly, number 31 against the run. What San Francisco is going to do in this football game is run the hell out of the ball and throw short little passes to Kittle and Ayuk, and that's how they're going to win the game. I am Wilds, what do they call me?
Mr. Consistency.
I will be
that's in
consistent
question.
with
That's in
what I say about the San Francisco 49ers. They can beat the vast majority of teams in this league as long as the quarterback simply does not kill them. They don't need great quarterback play the way so many other teams do. They just need the quarterback to not ruin their chances. Brock thus far has been quite good. I would expect it to be a very conservative game plan tonight because that's all they need to beat a Seattle team that is flailing a bit.
All right, for a few corrections.
Oh,
First of all,
good.
Brock Purdy, we established this Monday, is my guy.
Okay.
He's not Nick's guy.
That's fine.
I
We
didn't know
both
that.
have Iowa
yeah,
connections.
Iowa,
all right?
yeah.
That's number one. Number two, Seattle is kind of Nick's. Geno Smith.
I had
Was in
Geno at the midseason mark,
the MVP
sixth in the MVP
conversation.
race,
Really? This is
which
great.
he
So
deserved
I'm
to
just
be.
saying,
Yeah.
he
I
Drew
appreciate
doesn't
that.
like Geno for some
Nah,
reason. It's
Geno's
weird.
right.
I think
I'm just
it's a
not
Russell
Russell
Wilson.
thinking. I don't think he
yeah.
was in the MVP.
Oh, he was.
up there,
At
up
the
there in
midway point of the
conversation.
season, you didn't see the pyramid. He was literally sixth.
I'm with you, Nick, in that San Francisco should win this game, and I expect them to. I will throw this out, though. No Debo, as you know. No Elijah Mitchell, who's been out. But that could put more emphasis and more of a burden on McCaffrey, Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
And we know what's his biggest problem in his career has been health. So I just don't want to put too much of a load
How
on
many
him.
points?
if I'm
But
the
how many
Niners.
points do you think the Niners need to win this game?
No, I think they're
17?
going to win. I'm just saying this is something to watch. Well, look, even though they've lost 3 or 4, Seattle, Geno has played well.
No, he's just turned the ball
He has
over.
not been the problem.
But the first time that they played, San Francisco won 27-7, and they ran for nearly 200 yards. They ran the ball 45 times. I just think the Niners are such a dominant overall defense plus such a creative offense that it takes a really special team to be able to go in there and beat them.
I know, but here's Brock Purdy is starting his second game. This will be his third game ever.
You don't think he's going to win? Just
Carroll
say it.
has
You
coached
keep-
270 games.
So say
you
it.
laid out what's going to happen. I agree with you. Well, can't Pete Carroll throw something to confuse Brock Purdy? Is that too much to ask?
Look, it might be a tough game. Like I said, they're missing a few people. As you mentioned, Pete Carroll. It might be tough, but San Francisco will win. You don't seem to believe so. Say
No, I'm
it.
going to take Seattle. Take Seattle.
Oh,
by
you
3.
are taking Seattle.
Seattle by 3.
Wow.
Okay.
Early upset alert.
Yeah.
Trying to break your seven
You
straight
know what?
losses.
You know,
What?
because of that, segment's over.
Oh, okay.
Segment's over. We're going to have a meeting. I'm sorry, everybody. Air our dirty laundry
Seattle,
out right on the
wow.
show.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.